My name is Kristina Church, and I have the pleasure and the privilege of serving this wonderful community as its minister. This is such a special, special day for me to be able to see this beautiful sanctuary, to stand at this pulpit, to light this chalice, and to truly claim this moment as your minister. My heart is very, very full, and I'm very happy to be here. So welcome, welcome one and all, and we like to begin our services with the ringing of the bell. So the ringing of the bells, I should say, to call the faithful to Sunday service. So if you're ready, you may unmute yourself, grab your bell, and make a joyful noise, welcoming all of us to this time. Whoever you are, we welcome you. And to continue the welcome, we will now sing the welcoming song. Actually, Christine Linky will now welcome us with the Hal Walker welcoming song.
Whoever you are, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you. Whoever you are, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you, Christine. And yes, we welcome you, whoever you are, wherever you come from, whether you've been here 1,000 times or whether this is your first morning with us, you are welcome here. Our opening words this morning are from poet E.E. Cummings. I thank you, God, for most this amazing day, for the leaping greenly spirits of trees and a blue true dream of sky, and for everything which is natural, which is infinite, which is yes. I who have died am alive again today, and this is the sun's birthday. This is the birthday of life and of love and wings, and of the gay, great happening illimitably earth. How should tasting, touching, hearing, seeing, breathing, any, lifted from the no of all nothing, human merely being, doubt unimaginable you. Now the ears of my ears awake, and the eyes of my eyes are opened. And now Jackson Froman, our wonderful musician who is here with me, will perform Claude Debussy's Sunken Cathedral for us. Enjoy. Thank you, Jackson. How wonderful to hear music again in this sanctuary. Now is the time for the lighting of the chalice, and if you're at home and would like to, I invite you to light a home chalice or candle as I say these words. We light our chalice today in honor and celebration of our third principle, acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. Flower communion, which we'll celebrate today, is all about being together in community and offering our gifts to one another. By accepting each other in all of our beautiful diversity, we allow each other to share our unique gifts with each other and with the world. It is our tradition to join together each Sunday morning by reciting the Universal Covenant and also a covenant unique to this congregation, the Bond of Union from 1898. And Kelly Armour will share those with us. You're invited to say the words along with her.
Our universal covenant is, we are Unitarian Universalists, a people of open minds, loving hearts, and welcoming hands. We care for the earth and each other. And our bond of union, we unite ourselves together for the study and practice of morality and religion, as interpreted by the growing thought and noblest lives of humanity, believing that we may thereby prove helpful one to another and promote the cause of truth, righteousness, and love in the world.
Thank you, Kelly. Our time for all ages this morning is called The Other Side of the Wall. It's a story by Randy Reynolds. It's a special story about flowers, and it involves a young woman who took great pride in the growth and the care of her flowers in her garden. Maybe you know someone like that. She had been raised by her grandmother, and her grandmother taught her to love and care for all the creatures of the earth and the flowers and the trees, just as her grandmother had done. So this young woman's flower garden was a showpiece. Well, one day while looking through her catalog of flower garden, of flower seeds, she saw a picture of a plant that caught her eye. It had these unusual blooms of red and gold with a purple center. She said to herself, I've never seen anything like that. I've got to have that plant for my garden. So she ordered it. Well, when the seeds arrived, she planted them with great excitement in a little egg crate and egg carton. And when one of the plants came up and was sturdy enough to plant in the ground, she planted it at the base of a stone wall at the back of her yard. And it grew very vigorously there with beautiful green leaves, very lush, but there were no blooms. Day after day, she watered it, she fertilized it, she tried to do everything she knew how to get it to bloom. She even talked to it, but there were no blooms. One morning, many weeks later, as she stood before the vine, she thought about how disappointing it was that her plant had not bloomed. She was giving considerable thought to just cutting it down and starting all over again. But it was at this point that her elderly neighbor, whose lot joined hers, called over the wall to her. Thank you so much, she said. You can't imagine how much I've enjoyed the beautiful blooms of that plant that you planted. The young woman walked through the gate into her neighbor's yard, and sure enough, she saw that on the other side of the wall, the vine was filled with blooms. They were indeed the most beautiful flowers she'd ever seen, red and gold with purple at the center. The vine had crept through the crevices, and although not flowering on her side of the fence, it had flowered luxuriantly on the side where the sun shone brighter upon the wall. So just because we can't see the good results of our work, it doesn't mean that our work bore no fruit or flowers. Remember that. Now is a time where we share our generosity with this community. And again, we may hope to see the results of our good works someday. I encourage you to share what you have with the community in an offertory of generosity. You can mail a check to the address that you'll see on your screen. You can also go to uuerie.org/donate and follow the directions from there. And while you are practicing generosity, Jackson will share another beautiful piece with us. I believe he wrote this one. Gorgeous, thank you. Well, today is a very special day in our church year. It's the Unitarian Universalist Flower Communion, a tradition practiced by most congregations in our movement. The Flower Communion was originated in 1923 by Dr. Norbert Čapek, founder of the modern Unitarian movement in what is now the Czech Republic. So it is almost 100 years old now, and we are proud to continue this tradition. For some time, Dr. Čapek, during the 1920s, had felt the need for a symbolic ritual that would bind his congregation more closely together. And so he decided to turn to the native beauty of the Czech countryside for elements of a communion that would be genuine to the diverse people of his congregation. The flower ceremony was then brought to the United States in 1940, and it was introduced to originally the Cambridge, Massachusetts church by Dr. Čapek's wife, Maya V. Čapek. Now, she had met Norbert in New York City while he was studying for his PhD. And it was at her urging that Norbert had left the Baptist ministry and turned to Unitarianism. The Čapeks then returned to what was then Czechoslovakia in 1921 and established the dynamic liberal church in Prague. Maya Čapek was ordained also in 1926. And it was during her tour of the United States that she introduced the flower ceremony in Cambridge. Unfortunately, she was unable to return to Prague due to the outbreak of World War II. And it was not until the war was over that Norbert Čapek's death in a Nazi concentration camp was revealed. But from this beginning, the flower ceremony has spread to many of our Unitarian Universalist congregations and has been adapted along the way. There are many different versions of the flower ceremony. As you would imagine in Unitarian Universalism, no two congregations do it exactly the same way. Sometimes there is a parade into the sanctuary with either the children or everyone carrying baskets of flowers. Sometimes there are flowers set up all around the sanctuary. In COVID times, we've had to get more creative, and so there have been lots and lots of different ways to do flower ceremony during the pandemic and during the after parts of the pandemic. But today what we've decided is that we will have an outdoor sharing of flowers and of company if you wish to join us after the service. So today between noon and 2, I will be here with my family, and we will be very, very, very happy to greet you, meet you in person, and share in the beauty of this tradition. Whether or not you have a flower, you're welcome to come. One of the most important parts of the flower ceremony is that whatever flowers you bring, you go home with different flowers. And this is a celebration of bringing our gifts to the community, sharing our gifts, and coming away with something new each time that we join together in community. And if you don't have flowers to bring, that is also a hallmark of this ceremony, that everyone is welcome and no one has to go home without a flower. So please join us later on if you're able. At that first service in Prague, the people were asked to bring a flower of their choice from their gardens, from the field, from the roadside. And when they arrived at the church, each person was asked to put their flower in a common vase. And the vase was signifying that they all came together in a symbol of united fellowship by their own free will. Later, they were asked to choose a different flower. And as we like to say, just as no two flowers are alike, no two people are alike, no two congregations are alike, no two Unitarian Universalists are alike, but we each have a contribution to make. And together we form a beautiful bouquet. Now, all the children and adults on a yearly basis usually participate in this colorful ritual, and it gives concrete expression to the humanity-affirming principles of our liberal faith, particularly the third principle, acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. When the Nazis took control of Prague in 1940, they found Dr. Čapek's gospel of the inherent worth and beauty of every person to be, as the Nazi court records show, too dangerous for him to be allowed to live. So Dr. Čapek was sent to Dachau, where he died the next year. This gentle man suffered a very cruel death, but his message of human hope and human decency lives on through flower communion, widely celebrated today. When Dr. Čapek would bless the flowers, he would say this particular blessing that I would like to share with you, even though we'll be working with the flowers later, but I want to bless them ahead of time here from the pulpit. Then later, when you see a flower in your garden or by the roadside, maybe you'll return to the sense of Dr. Čapek's sacred message for us today. Here are the words of the blessing of the flowers. Infinite Spirit of life, we ask thy blessing on flowers, thy messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us, amidst the diversities of knowledge and differences of gifts, may they remind us to be one in affection and devotion to what is holy. May they also remind us of the value of community, of doing and of sharing alike. May we cherish friendships as one of your most precious gifts. May we not let the awareness of another person's talents discourage us or destroy our relationship, but may we celebrate the talents and the gifts of all people. May we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do the work of this world and to create this beautiful community. Amen. And I will look forward to the second half of the flower communion later today. And I'll especially look forward to meeting all of you very soon. Now is the time in our service when we share what is on our hearts with one another and with this community. So I invite you now to place a word or a short phrase in the chat describing how you're feeling today. We will bear witness to one another's deepest and largest emotions today. And as we do so, Jackson will play Mandolin Rain. Thank you to all who shared what's on your hearts today. I saw messages of gratitude for a service from the sanctuary, gratitude for Jackson's beautiful playing, joy that things are starting to get back to normal, appreciation of the beautiful unfolding of flowers and plants during this time of June, gratitude for the rain. Also, some sadness and bittersweetness at the departure of loved ones. For all of these joys and all of these sorrows and everything that we hold within the depths of our hearts, too tender to share, we bear witness, we hold space, we are with you. To continue our theme of flower communion, our closing words are words written for this occasion by David Bumbaugh, adapted for pandemic times. This morning, if you decide to come to church, I invite you to bring with you a flower from your yard, or from along the road, or from a florist or the grocery store, or from the rose bush by the driveway, from so many different sources. These many different flowers will come and be piled together. Flowers from these sources symbolize the extravagance of nature. For as various as these flowers are, they do not begin to exhaust nature's inventiveness and the myriad possibilities of creating form and color and beauty. And what nature has done for flowers, nature has done for us. We too are the products of nature's extravagance. Each of us is unique. Mingled together, interacting, we do not become less unique, but rather we find our uniqueness heightened. Here in this place, here in this common human community, we find the fuller dimensions of our humanity, our individuality, and the richer meaning of our existence. The profound delight in this beautiful world and the joy of our existence in this world. Now, as we prepare to leave our time of worship, I invite you for the rest of the day, whatever you decide to do, to think on the beauty of flowers, to take that joy into your heart, to appreciate all the things that make this life so beautiful, and to love each individual person that you come across today in their uniqueness, their diversity, their individuality. Let the spirit of flower communion enter your heart and stay there on this beautiful Sunday. And if you would like, later today, you're invited to take a flower with you as a symbol of gratitude for beauty you did not create, of gratitude for blessings that we do not deserve, of gratitude for joys that come when most unexpected. Take that flower home as a symbol of your participation in the community of this congregation, of your participation in the community of humankind, of your participation in the community of all living things, your participation in the interdependent web of all existence. And if you don't have a flower to bring, Take one anyway. Come anyway. Please come and join us. Take a flower as a symbol that beauty and grace and joy and love are not matters of reciprocity. For in this world, we cannot earn or deserve that which is most important. It comes to us as a gift. Therefore, knowing how to receive is fully as important as learning to give. So please come if you can and receive the blessing of our community later today. And if you can't come, know that you are receiving that blessing wherever you are, just by being a part of us. Thank you so much for being here today. And now we will extinguish our chalice. I invite you to extinguish yours at home if you have lit one today. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.